So lately I've been moving around a lot. I've had a bunch of different things going on in my life, so I've been a little bit off of my normal routine. So as I get back into the swing of things, I figured it would be a perfect time to go over how I'd go about building a good routine. You've probably seen those videos like my 6 a.m. morning routine or a productive day in my life. And although those videos can be fun and inspiring, they aren't always the most practical because simply copying someone else's routine doesn't mean it's gonna work just as well for you. Your routine is something that over time can evolve and mold to your specific lifestyle and preferences. You probably heard the saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Well, I'm hoping that this video will teach you how to fish and be able to build a good routine no matter what your current life situation is or how it evolves over time. So if I were creating a daily routine from scratch, the first thing I would do is to identify the non-negotiable activities. So everyone has some daily or weekly activities that are pretty essential. You don't really want to skip them, otherwise it would have some kind of major negative impact on your life. So this can differ from person to person, obviously, but it might be waking up at a certain time, exercising, sleeping a certain amount, going to your job or doing your work, eating meals, spending time with family, going on date nights, anything like that, where it's like, if I skip this activity, then my day or week feels incomplete in some way. So I would start by listing out what your non-negotiables are based on your values and your current lifestyle. Next, we need to define the cadence for each activity. So is this something that you need to do daily, weekly, how many days per week, for what duration? Really try and quantify it when relevant. So as an example, I wrote down my core non-negotiable activities and the cadence for each. So daily, exercise 30 minutes, 7 days a week. I like to do some kind of exercise every day, even if it's just a quick 30-minute walk. Work, so I've got to do my job 5 days a week. Meals, 3 times a day. Sleep 8 hours a night, and read 30 minutes a day. As for core weekly activities, I like to do at least one date night or outing with friends or family, as well as upload one video to my YouTube channel. So I'd encourage you to just quickly pause the video, get out a piece of paper or your notes app, and just write out each of these essential activities and the relevant cadence. Remember, these are not things that you want to do more of, but they're technically optional. These are things that are really important to you and align with your values, and it's crucial that you do them each and every week. Doing this exercise along with the next few things we're about to discuss is really helpful anytime you feel in a bit of a rut, out of your normal routine or anything like that. It can help you kind of recalibrate and figure out, okay, what do I actually want to spend my time doing? Now, before we dive into the next step, hit that subscribe button right now to see more videos like this one. Next, we're going to get out our digital calendar, or you can continue to do this on a piece of paper and map out what I like to call our default week. Basically, we're going to create little blocks on our calendar or write out specific times and durations for each of the core activities that we're going to do on a given week. This is similar to what some might call creating your ideal week, but realistically, 99% of the time, we're not going to be able to perfectly match our ideal week, as unexpected things will inevitably come up. So rather than being in the mindset of always falling short of our ideal week, I like to reframe it as we have this default schedule that we set as our baseline. So assuming nothing comes up or we don't have anything special planned on a particular day, as the name suggests, we will default to this mapped out routine. So I find that this approach allows me to be more flexible and not get overly stressed out when things don't go perfectly to plan. Now, that being said, this more flexible approach can quickly turn into just pure laziness and simply not doing any of the things that we plan to do. So I think we need to find the balance between laziness and rigidity, where we can be both flexible and disciplined when needed. So that brings us to the next step, which is to actually implement the routine. We can't just get stuck in the planning stage. We actually need to do something. So how do we do that exactly? Well, I'm a big fan of starting small and building up momentum. There's that New Year's resolution stereotype where everyone starts out the first couple days of the year following their perfect routine, waking up at 5 a.m., hitting up 1 hour workout, doing their meditation, etc., and they just go from 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds. In my experience, this can sometimes work with individual habits where you just kind of go cold turkey, or I guess it's like the reverse of cold turkey, where you're starting something abruptly, but it never really works with an entirely new routine. Now let's take a step back and remind ourselves what a routine actually is. In my eyes, it's basically just one giant compound habit an accumulation of all the individual daily and weekly habits that we do. So we can approach building a routine the same way that we would build an individual habit, by breaking it down into smaller bite-sized pieces and slowly gaining momentum and building it out into the full routine. So for example, what this could look like is, for a moment, we just forget about all the aspects of our default routine apart from the time that we wake up. And then for 1 week, we've just really focused on dialing in this wake up time, waking up at the time that we planned, and make it literally just the one thing you need to do each day. And it'll seem a lot more doable than trying to stick to your entire routine. From there, you can quickly build up momentum and start incorporating the other aspects of your routine. Now, one tip for every time that you incorporate a new habit into your routine is to define completion of that habit as doing the habit and then starting the next part of your routine. So for example, let's say you want to start waking up at a certain time, let's say 6 a.m. In order for it to count for that day, you would wake up at 6 a.m. and then put on your workout clothes or whatever else is next in your routine. Now, if you just put your workout clothes on in this example and don't end up going to do an actual workout, that's completely fine at this stage while we're building up momentum. But more likely than not, you'll find that by simply starting the next step in your routine, that momentum will kind of carry you forward and you'll end up completing more of your routine. Adapt and evolve. The fun part about building routines is that you very quickly start to learn what you genuinely value and enjoy doing in life. Your default routine is literally your lifestyle, so you shouldn't feel pressured to stick to a specific routine just because that's what your favorite YouTuber or influencer does. If you've tried working out first thing in the morning because that's what Andrew Huberman does, but no matter what you do, you simply hate it and you feel tired afterwards, then maybe try working out later in the day and that'll work better for you. The goal is to make your default routine kind of like your happy place, something that you can revert to in times of chaos and get you back on your feet or accelerate your progress towards a particular goal. And as you try different things, you'll learn new activities that you really like. For example, recently I realized that I really like hiking on Sunday mornings. It's a different type of exercise than what I usually do. I can go outside, get some fresh air, and spend quality time with family. A good routine provides a solid foundation for your work and other pursuits in life. So you might find that once you eliminate the distractions and get rid of the chaos in your daily life and start living by this consistent, more healthy routine, that you free up a bunch of time that could then be used for something more targeted, like a specific project or goal. But in the meantime, building a good routine of healthy habits that supports your current lifestyle is a great place for just about anyone to start. And lastly, I just want to hear from you. Do you have a routine? If so, what does it look like? Is there anything that you struggled to implement into your routine that you would really like to, but you just don't seem to make the time for? What's the most enjoyable part of your routine? Feel free to answer any of these questions down below in the comments. Do something today that your future self will thank you for.